Hey Synth Drones, today we're going to be talking about Keep Everything. Hi, I'm Pure Ambient Drone, and this is my vlog where I talk about synthesizers. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, tap that bell so you can keep up with all of my synth adventures. You know, I've been looking at a lot of channels on YouTube lately, and you know, there's something that a lot of people are missing. They're just not telling people. Now, I want to be clear. This is not a technical channel. I don't want to teach anything or act like I've got all the answers. I only talk about my synth adventures in the hopes that it will help you as well. Because who knows, maybe you'll stumble across something on my channel that will help you. Well, today I want to talk about keeping everything and getting rid of nothing. When I got married, my wife and I discussed how I used to have a studio and how all of that came crashing down because of divorce. I said, you know, if only I had my old gear back, I would continue back with my dream of making music. It's always been my lifetime dream. And prior to the divorce that I had suffered back in 2005, I was realizing that dream. I'd always been in the music, and I'd always made some kind of income with music. But back in 2005 and prior, things were building for me. And I ended up losing everything because of divorce. Now, I'm not blaming my ex-wife. I'm not blaming divorce in general. I'm just saying that circumstances occurred that led to that predicament. And it is what it is. Okay, so let's fast forward. I started buying new gear and getting back into music because my wife today had encouraged me. All right. She said, don't give up your dreams. You're never too old to do what you love to do. I think we need that kind of encouragement, whether it be from our spouse, our friends, our loved ones, or a combination of all three. Well, when I started buying some gear, I had been out of it for a while, musically speaking, and I wasn't making great picks, at least in my opinion. But my wife was telling me, don't sell anything. Keep everything. You can always sell it later. But you know, when you want to grab new gear and you get excited about the latest and greatest, you fall into this trap of what we call gas, okay? Gas is where you just want to acquire gear all the time. Now, I'm not saying I was a big victim of that. Now, you could look around at my studio and say, oh, yes, you were and are. But that's not necessarily true in my case. I was making some smart purchases. It's just that I had been out of the game for so long that I was struggling to find my sound. I was struggling to find my method of operation, my flow, my workflow. And so I went through several different configurations, trading, selling, and even rebuying some gear, but not very much of it. Select gear found its way into my studio where I kept it. Now today, you know, I have minor regrets of some of the things that I sold and traded and got rid of, but I will tell you this, I don't have a whole lot of them because in the background, there was always my wife telling me, keep everything and sell nothing. And early on, I came across a video where a big pro in the game, had said that they had never sold anything. They just kept everything. Now, the one regret that I made selling was the JDXA. And you can see it up here now. It's back in my studio. And it's sleeping right now. It's not on. It's been working hard because I'm working on a new album. But I really missed this JDXA. And it does not fit my workflow. Oh, man, can it be frustrating for me, the way I have things hooked up. But, yeah, that's just the way it is. This is something that I almost sold. I almost got rid of the Juno 106, but I didn't do it. This is something that I never dreamed of selling, and I know it's kind of dark in here, but this is the Behringer DeepMind 12. Guys, it is a 12-voice analog synthesizer. My goodness, pick one up, will ya? But I learned early on that keeping things gives you more choices. And there was a comment that somebody had left one time referring to one of my tracks not sounding like a $10,000 equipment track, like the track wasn't recorded on $10,000 worth of equipment. And I thought that was kind of funny because I don't know what a $10,000 track sounds like. Yes, there are tens of thousands of dollars in my studio. I worked hard to put this studio together. And this isn't all of my gear. Because you're looking at it and you're seeing a handful of what I've got. I've got a lot of stuff put to the side. Not because I'm never going to use it again, but because I am taking some time out to discover some of these new toys. Now, I'm glad I didn't sell anything because I get hungry for those synthesizers that are packed away. And I just want to tell you guys something. Now, this is important, getting back to this comment and why I brought it up. You don't have to make a track that sounds like $10,000 to be using $10,000 worth of equipment. Okay? You don't have to make a track that sounds like that. Because there is no such thing. It's a ridiculous comment. Music is in the ear of the beholder. And a lot of times I go for the lo-fi sound, all right? And you have so many options with these, I call them mega boxes, okay? Mega synths. You have so many options open to you when you buy high quality machines that were built for performance and studio work. And I have such a wonderful sound palette now that it's hard to beat this setup that I've got. And one of my favorite synthesizers, they're all my favorite. I can't pick just one. But one of my newest, and that could be why I'm so excited about it, is this Dave Smith Rev 2 16-voice synthesizer. This thing is a beast. It is a monster, but it has its own sound. And then below it, we have the Evolver. And this thing is a beast, and it has its own sound, okay? And then, you know, a lot of times people are like, well, you know, I've got a P6, but I've got the OP6, and I don't need both of them. I'm going to get rid of one of them, any, mini, money, mo, which one should go? I tell people, keep your synthesizers, keep your gear. Don't throw anything out, even if you think you can't afford it. If you cannot afford more gear, if you can't buy something else because you want it or you need it, there's a problem. And let me tell you what the problem is. You are not utilizing the gear you already have to generate enough income to get what you want. Now, hold the phone, everybody. I know where we're going with this, okay? Not everybody wants to make money with their synthesizers. I understand it. Now, I was on the phone with a friend of mine who is very young, and he wants to start some kind of a charity. I use the term charity loosely, but let me get to the point. He says, you know, I don't need any money for this. It's just something I love to do. Friends, let me inform you of something. If you love to do something, find a way to make money at it, because you'll be able to do that something even more so. All right? Now, I know a lot of people are going to like, oh man, this guy is all about money, and that's not me. It takes money to buy gear. All right? So whether you get that money from making music with the gear you have, or you have a great job that pays for all of that stuff that you have. You still need money to get it, unless somebody is rich in your family tree or friends and they just give you stuff. But the bottom line is money makes the world go round. Actually, it's a form of gravity, but you know what I mean. Money makes things appear in our lives a lot quicker than when we don't have it, right? You know, things like food and gasoline for our cars and cars themselves. Money is important, guys. It really is. Money feeds us, right? Money takes care of us. It pays our rent. So what I'm getting at is that if you have to sell something or trade something to get to the next level, you haven't grasped what the next level is. The next level is evolving in your craft to utilize every single piece of gear that you have and hang on to it for dear life, because you never know when you're going to get a brainstorm that says, wow, this is what I can use that for. Because I'm under the assumption that there is no bad synthesizer, that you can make great music with little toys, okay? I've seen it done on YouTube. I've seen people take little Casios and make some incredible tracks using those. Now, there's a lot of special effects and after processing that is done, but there's a reason why people hang on to those old Casios. It's because they have a way of utilizing them in an imaginative way that you and I haven't dreamed of yet, or at least I haven't dreamed of yet, because I had Casios when I was a kid, and I threw them in the trash when I became an adult. I wish I had some of those Casios now, because some of them are actually pretty cool, and I could use some of them for the ideas that I have. So do you get my point? Hang on to everything, because I've gotten rid of stuff and just said, oh man, I should have kept that. I just had an inspiration and that piece would have done so great. I have done that. I'm not saying that I have done it as a rule. It hasn't happened a lot to me. Thankfully, I have a spouse who is very supportive of what I do. And she often reminds me, keep everything. If you can't afford something that you really, really want, work for it. Make it happen. So even if you don't have a desire to make any money with your music, and that's fine, okay? Wait and work for what you do want and keep what you have. Now, there is a point when you should let something go. And I don't know where that point is for you. I know where the point is for me. There is some gear, and I'm not going to sit here and list what it is or what it was, but there is some gear that I have had in the past that when I looked at it, it gave me a sick feeling that just did have, I not only did not have desire for it, but it was just a cringe to even think about working on it. And that happens. There are some things in our lives that we don't click with. Just like there's people, okay? There's people in our lives that we don't click with. There's gear that musicians don't click with. So in that case, I would say that I could contradict my advice to you, but I would still hang on to that gear for a period of time to where you absolutely are absolutely sure that this is something that you want to let go of. So I wouldn't make any rush to judgment on when you should get rid of something. And it could be that if you hang on to something long enough, it'll be worth even more money, or a great, fantastic trade will come along and they'll be able to snatch something up even better when the time is right. So if you are going to get rid of something, at least time it a little bit better than you normally would, and don't be impatient. don't lower your price or lower your trade value because it is something that, there is something, that you want to grab in its stead. And then you're missing the gear. Gear trading and selling shouldn't be a sacrifice. I don't know. I sometimes wonder if this is a marketing ploy. It probably is in many cases, but I read a lot of times in descriptions for items, for sale on eBay and Reverb.com. I'm selling my beloved such and such, or I hate to let this go, but I need to get this. Or sorry to see this leave my studio, but I'm wanting that. It's like people surf the web for the latest and greatest synthesizer, hoping that that synth is going to bring them to the new level that they're looking for in their musical adventures. And all the while, they have exactly what they want and need right in front of themselves all along, and they're getting ready to sell the very thing that was going to bring them to where they wanted to be at. So, this is just a little bit of advice. Like I said, this is not a technical channel. I probably don't know a thing about what I'm talking about, so I wouldn't trust my word for it. And I tell people this all the time: stop listening to people. I enjoy the fact that you come here and you watch my videos and you listen to me about my adventures, and that's really how this channel should be taken. I would caution you before I leave this video here today to really think about some of the people that are making videos out there and giving you advice and others advice on what they should and shouldn't do with their music and their synthesizers, and the synthesizer that you should buy and the synthesizer you shouldn't buy. I think that you should be your own person and think it through. I'm not saying that people everywhere is giving everyone bad advice. I'm not saying that. But I think that a lot of times we sell stuff because we want to get the next best thing because a YouTuber told us that this was the next best thing. And some of these YouTubers that are talking and telling people, okay, this is the gear you need to buy. This is the synthesizer you need to get. Like I just did. I said, look, it's a 12-voice analog synthesizer. You should get it. Well, in my opinion, this is a no-brainer. But you shouldn't listen to me. You should not listen to me on the Behringer DeepMind 12. You should listen to yourself. You should listen to your wallet. You should listen to your inner voice. Okay? You should listen to your music. All right? But I did say that. But I'm also telling you, look, don't take my advice on anything. Don't take these YouTubers' advice on anything. The other day I was listening to a YouTuber talk about how great and fantastic something was. Then I went to their website and I listened to some of the stuff that they were doing, which was absolutely nothing but one or two tracks that I could find released by this person. And I'm not trying to be mean. Please don't take it this way. But the tracks did not even strike me as someone that was even trying to be professional or was capable of being professional as a music producer. Yet this person has a lot more subscribers than I do. And it's just shocked me that people are listening to people give them advice and not really checking out exactly who these people are. To put this in the context, don't you want to know who the surgeon is that's going to be operating on you? I mean, it could be a car mechanic for all you would know, right? Don't you want to make sure that the gear that you're buying because somebody told you so is being pitched to you by someone who really knows what they're talking about? But then there's another problem. A lot of professionals get paid to make infomercials on synthesizers, and they don't care whether or not it's good or bad. They just want to get paid because they got paid to tell you that it's a great synthesizer. So you got a problem there. So again, the only person that you should be listening to when it comes to getting your gear, selling your gear, trading your gear, and using your gear is you and your music. Well, I hope this helped you. If so, leave a comment. Until next time, keep calm and synth on.